Children need USDA's Choose MyPlate. Obesity is quickly becoming America's #1 reason for death. Dr. Gary Auld, nutrition professor at Colorado State University with a PhD in nutrition from Penn State, stated that 1 in 3 Americans today are considered obese. James Levine also claimed in his article, Poverty and Obesity in the U.S., from Diabetes Journals and the American Diabetes Association, that 1/3 of Americans are obese today and another third are overweight. Children learn math, science, English every day in school. With rising obesity rates, why is nutrition not incorporated into the education curriculum as well? Directors of the CNPP, or Center for Nutrition Policy, Dr. Post and Dr. Auld, should cooperate with the U.S. Department of Education, requiring MyPlate be taught to all K-12 students, because schools today do not fully monitor or teach proper nutrition. Adult and childhood obesity rates are rising, and MyPlate was designed to decrease obesity rates. Directors of the Center for Nutrition Policy and the U.S. Department of Education must understand the need for extreme diet changes. According to the School Nutrition Dietary Assessment Study 3 summary findings, the Food and Nutrition Service of the USDA requires that all schools meet the USDA guidelines. The National School Lunch Program was set up by the Food and Nutrition Service to provide schools with incentive for following USDA guidelines. Schools are reimbursed for lunches and after-school snacks are served as long as they follow the federally issued guidelines. Students K-12 qualify for either free or less expensive meals depending on their family income. According to the Food and Nutrition Service fact sheet updated August 2012, schools must increase the availability of fruits, vegetables, and whole grains to students as well as decrease sodium levels. Also, schools have set caloric limits per certain age group, determining that each age group receives the appropriate number of calories. The nutrition standards set still include potato chips and ice cream. Although students are pressed to eat fruit, it may come from a fruit cup containing large amounts of sugars and cornstarch. Schools are only told to look at fat content, sodium levels, and calories, but nutrient levels are not specifically addressed. The federal government does not set restrictions on specific kinds of food served to school children. Schools are not reimbursed for the quality of food unless it comes from a surplus of agricultural stock. There are no incentives for schools to provide fresh vegetables instead of canned, or fresh fruit instead of fruit cups. Young children do not understand the difference between fresh food and canned foods. As long as nutrient needs are met and calories are not too high or low, the lunches and snacks will be served. Camilla Peterson, a nutrition graduate pursuing a master's in public health and specializing in childhood obesity, explains that childhood obesity is very different from adult obesity for 3 main reasons.
Children are not responsible for their own lifestyle choices. They are in a state of developmental transition and pass through several key growth and feeding stages. They respond more readily to the environment they are placed in, and they are unable to consider the long-term consequences of obesity or fully understand the causes behind it.
Children are constantly growing. Their bodies are storing all nutrients, good or bad. Adolescents are extremely vulnerable to today's environments, which encourages fat and overeating. Dr. Gary Auld clarified that growing children are developing fat cells for the rest of their lives. Once fat cells are developed, they only shrink or grow. so obese children will never be able to lose the fat cells creating their obesity. If a child can understand the choice between grilled or fried chicken, or apples instead of French fries, they will slowly make positive health impacts on their own bodies. Education must become the first step for arming children with the knowledge to make healthy dietary choices on their own. General guidelines on the Choose My Plate website provide explanation for needs of different food items for both parents and children. Though the federal government sets guidelines for nutrition levels and caloric intakes, children do not understand why they are eating certain foods. Although school lunches may be on the right track health-wise, once a child leaves school, the food choices become their parents'. Nutritional obesity prevention regresses by not educating children or parents on the importance of fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, and whole grains. Camila Peterson states that if parents are willing to admit their child may be overweight, they're usually ignorant to the reasons why. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, 74% of children ages 3 to 6 are enrolled in all-day kindergarten. For elementary to high school age students, 43% are minorities. For students K through 12, the Bureau reports 89% of parents are involved in school events and organizations. If more than half the parents are involved in school events, the assumption can be made that they know what's going on in their child's school. If students are actively learning about MyPlate, the parents will inevitably learn as well. In fall 2011, the number of students enrolled in K through 12 is estimated 55.5 million. Of the children recorded in school, 31.3 million participated in school lunches. This means that about 56% of children and young adults eat lunch at school. If adolescents can learn the reasons behind consuming half a plate of fruits and vegetables, the ideas will definitely be brought home. Previous attempts to simplify guidelines set by the USDA have been deemed ineffective. According to the peer-reviewed article, How Large is the Plate?, written by the Doctor of Nursing Science Jane Blitzholtz, the original food wheel was created around 1940 but did not define serving sizes. The 1984 food wheel provided serving sizes, but the food categories were so specific many people had difficulty understanding them. In 2005, My Pyramid came out. However, according to the Journal of Nutrition Education,
only 12% of adults surveyed could identify the MyPyramid graphic 2 years after it was released.
Because previous efforts by the USDA and CNPP have not been effective, they reconstructed MyPlate for a target audience. The concept of MyPlate can be understood by people of all ages. The MyPlate website suggests that anyone over the age of 2 can comprehend the nutritional guidelines. The Journal of Nutrition and Behavior claims that Americans with low income are increasingly using the internet for nutrition information. It also states that society with low socioeconomic status or language barriers are most in need for nutritional help. Supporting this idea, MyPlate created Mi Plato, the Spanish version of MyPlate. James Levine backs the idea in his article, Poverty and Obesity in the U.S., published by the American Diabetes Association. Levine explains that the impoverished areas, including 43% of the population in America, are more likely to be obese. Some may argue that exercise is a contributing factor, and they are partially right. Dr. Gary Auld explained that for successful weight loss, A person must change their diet as well as exercise patterns. MyPlate claims they want to focus on nutrition, and as James Levine pointed out, many impoverished regions cannot afford gym memberships and do not have the ability to play outside safely. Though Harvard argues that MyPlate ideas are too simple, they appear to cater to the most needed target audience. MyPlate portrays maximum visibility, according to the Journal of Nutrition, Education, and Behavior. Jane Bliss Holtz explains MyPlate was created in 2011 and meant to equip children with 3 specific messages. Balancing calories, increasing the intake of certain foods such as fruits, vegetables, grains, and water, and reducing the intake of whole milk, sugary beverages, and sodium. MyPlate was designed to simplify these messages. If the directors of the CNPP can portray the previously listed messages to children, it may have a huge impact on obesity rates in the future. Levine explains MyPlate intends to bridge the gap between knowledge and behavior by arming society with the information needed to make healthy dietary choices. Harvard criticizes MyPlate in their article, Harvard calls USDA's food plate inadequate, stating the idea is not specific enough when addressing certain kinds of food are better than others, and only focuses on one meal at a time instead of total percentages. The Journal of Nutrition Education refutes this argument, explaining the target audience for MyPlate is low socioeconomic groups and more vulnerable populations. MyPlate simplifies nutrition and provides viewers with online tools that do just that. Choose MyPlate provides an online tool allowing readers to calculate their body mass index, or BMI. Children can calculate their own BMI. All they need to know is their height and weight. The program allows anyone to input their measurements. Then it calculates their BMI according to national standards. There is profound evidence explaining the significant increase in BMI for adults. However, childhood obesity has become the most detrimental increase for obesity today. By using MyPlate, the online tool created by the directors of the CNPP, anyone can calculate their BMI, and through the website, identify dietary reasons pertaining to their personal weight. MyPlate offers many programs such as the Super Tracker, BMI Calculator, or even a dietary evaluation explaining the average amount of calories a person should eat. All of these programs come with instructional DVDs, encouraging teachers to explain these concepts to students and to facilitate learning, according to Constance Dickerson of the School Library Journal. There are different DVDs demonstrating different aspects of MyPlate. If Dr. Auld, Dr. Post, and the Department of Education required these videos to be showed in classes, teachers are already in place to explain the concepts. Nutrition would become part of learning program, and more children would attain knowledge about the positive and negative sides of food choices. Teachers could take students through programs, then the students could print out their findings and take them home. Eventually, parents and children would learn together about nutritional needs and dietary improvements. MyPlate will prove effective if children are equipped with knowledge in school. The growing rates of obesity must be attacked at the source: children. If students K through 12 are learning about proper nutrition and exercise throughout their school career, it will slowly disarm childhood obesity and ultimately adult obesity. By teaching MyPlate in schools, teachers are already in place to answer difficult questions, and multimedia DVDs explaining difficult concepts are available for easy learning. Parents are involved enough to learn and hear the ideas their children are learning about. Through the interactive tools online at MyPlate website, students can print out the results and show their parents at home. If the directors of the CNPP, Dr. Post and Dr. Auld, could combine efforts with the U.S. Department of Education, childhood obesity rates would decrease. Schools would be providing nutrition education and healthy foods to students, and low socioeconomic groups could better understand difficult concepts, all thanks to the use and expertise of MyPlate.